Greetings, I'm your funerary spacesuit's built-in guide to the world of space funerals. Before we start communicating further, confirm that you are still able to read after the impact. Splendid! You've gotten into a non-standard situation. The Breathedge Global Funeral Agency is proud of its impeccable history. However, your death may cause the loss of its reputation. Therefore, we suggest that you stop the gassing and survive. To stop the leakage, you'll need an object without any holes. When picking up any useful items, you can stuff them in your pockets, calling it an inventory, if you will. Take out the chewing gum from your pocket. Try not to get your funerary spacesuit sticky while holding it. Stick it somewhere except for your face. To stop the leakage, you'll need an object without any holes. You deserve some words of encouragement. That's impressive. You've almost won. Remember that the funerary spacesuit isn't designed for long-term use of persons or animals in outer space. It is recommended to immediately call for help on the interphone, improve the spacesuit, or become depressed. The waste disposal system is damaged and is operating in reverse mode. The toilet can suck objects flying past the shuttle when the tanks are full.
Тебя глаза зеленые, как весенняя трава, губы алые, брови черные.
When you discover a new blueprint of an item, it is automatically added to the memory reprocessor in the kitchen, where you can create this item using the necessary resources, probably. Just the antenna, you'll have to go into outer space.
Европу Петр Первый прорубил, за чужой погнавшись модой, русским бороды побрил. А теперь мужи седые бреют бороды свои. И как жены молодые часто выглядят они, позабыли, что мужчину украшает борода, борода. Богатство рода знали русичи всегда. Борода, борода, ой, бородушка, ты лелеешь ее и халишь, как учили нас деды, без нее нет победы.
What a loud headline. But the probability of the liner crashing due to a terrorist attack is 65%.
Бороду носи, чтобы помощь славных предков не прерывалась никогда. Помогает в этом деле несомненно борода.
A source of increased radiation is detected. Probably this is the central core of the liner. Be careful, the radiation will kill you instantly in such a suit. That was a close call. Try to adjust the antenna You've got great engineering skills. You have broken the antenna completely. Now you will need some special equipment and interphone activation codes, which are encrypted in the memory. Great news! Using my ingenious 2-digit password matching algorithm, I managed to hack the interphone activation codes. Now all that's left is to build a cryptographic debugging station and reconfigure the interphone using these codes, which will take about 5 years with your current skills. It looks like the steering wheel. You need to try to connect to it. Remember that you are still able to become depressed.
Деды, без нее нет победы, ты обычаи предков хранишь. Как учили нас деды, без нее нет победы, ты обычаи предков хранишь.
If you're sure that this is exactly what was on the blueprint, then try to reconfigure the receiver. If you have any doubts concerning it, then you will eventually suffer an electric shock, and then your spacesuit will automatically take your body measurements to order a coffin from our company. Thank you for choosing the Global Funeral Agency. The rescuer's arrival time exceeds your estimated lifespan by 4,369 years. You need to get to the extraction point yourself, getting past the radiation. However, it's impossible to do this with your current skills. To increase your level, you need to create some crap imposed by the developers. The electrical stimulation is complete. Having traced your brain's activity while you were working, your brain was stimulated with small electrical charges to improve your engineering skills. Judging by the result, it didn't work and caused a number of hallucinations. However, it was entertaining. You still can't get past the radiation, but I will mark the coordinates of the rescuers for useless motivation. It wasn't possible to determine the coordinates of the survivor. Communication only works on reception, which gives a good reason not to respond and not to be distracted, despite the objections of the hormone system. The sensors report the presence of some nearby cooling gel. Its microscopic particles can settle on the glass of the spacesuit, forming some beautiful frostwork which can lead to visibility deterioration. Your interlocutor has a very sweet accent, causing fatal errors in my grammatical functions. The presence of such an amount of cooling gel is strange. Such a composition was outdated more than 10 years ago and is not produced on any planet. When picking up any useful items, you can stuff them and take out the chewing gum from your pocket. Try not to get your food stick it somewhere except for your face. You deserve some words of encouragement. That's impressive. You've almost won. Remember that the funerary spacesuit isn't designed for long-term use of persons or animals in outer space. It is recommended to immediately call for help on the interphone, improve the spacesuit, or become depressed. To adjust the antenna, you'll have to go into outer space. When you discover a new blueprint of an item, it is automatically added to the memory reprocessor in the kitchen, where you can create this item using the necessary resources. Probably. probability of the liner crashing due to a terrorist attack is 65%. The protection level against radiation is still insufficient for the flight to the evac point. You still need to improve the equipment, or due to the high toxicity level of the renewed painting of the spacesuit, the probability of your death from radiation is now lower than the probability of death from the suit itself. In this regard, you can fly to the evacuation point. A source of increased radiation is detected. Probably this is the central core of the liner. Be careful, the radiation will kill you instantly in such a suit. That was a close call. Try to adjust the antenna very carefully. You've got great engineering skills. You have broken the antenna completely. Now you will need some special equipment and interphone activation codes, which are encrypted in the memory of the steering wheel if it's still intact. Be careful with the vacuum breakdowns. An electric shock of such power can lead to the failure of my systems, and I can't guarantee the safety of your corpse before the arrival of the funeral team. It looks like the steering wheel. You need to try to connect to it. Great news! Using my ingenious two-digit password matching algorithm, I managed to hack the interphone activation codes. Now all that's left is to build a cryptographic debugging station and reconfigure the interphone using these codes, which will take about 5 years with your current skills. Remember that you are still able to become depressed. If you're sure that this is exactly what was on the blueprint, then try to reconfigure the receiver. If you have any doubts concerning it, then you will eventually suffer an electric shock, and then your spacesuit will automatically take your body measurements to order a coffin from our company. Thank you for choosing the Global Funeral Agency. The rescuer's arrival time exceeds your estimated lifespan by 4,369 years. You need to get to the extraction point yourself getting past the radiation. However, it's impossible to do this with your current skills. To increase your level, you need to create some crap imposed by the developers. The electrical stimulation is complete. Having traced your brain's activity while you were working, your brain was stimulated with small electrical charges to improve your engineering skills. Judging by the result, it didn't work and caused a number of hallucinations. However, it was entertaining. You still can't get past the radiation, but I will mark the coordinates of the rescuers for useless motivation. It wasn't possible to determine the coordinates of the survivor. Communication only works on reception, which gives a good reason not to respond and not to be distracted, despite the objections of the hormonal system. The sensors report the presence of some nearby cooling gel. Its microscopic particles can settle on the glass of the spacesuit, forming some beautiful frostwork, which can lead to visibility deterioration. Toilet detected. Some of our clients are very sensitive about toilet talk, and therefore we included a dictionary filter which will replace the word feces with the word joy. Depressurization may occur in the vicinity of the toilet pump when the waste tanks are damaged externally. It is highly recommended not to sit on it during such moments. Your interlocutor has a very sweet accent, causing fatal errors in my grammatical functions. The largest condom in the world, and also an emission of gas, most likely oxygen, are detected ahead. The service supply compartment, almost intact. They usually install oxygen stations here. You would be in luck if you managed to get inside. The gas is fed through these pipes. A damaged door scanner. You can scan the scanner with a scanner to record the scanner's damage data to the scanner protection system for emergency depressurization of the compartment. You will need a scanner. I used the word scanner 8 times. There's no data on the condom being suitable for an oxygen reservoir, but you can try to construct a simple balloon for distracting yourself from fatal thoughts. There can be no mistake here. This is a working autonomous oxygen station. It can be used for long-distance flights. You must carefully remove the station by removing 2 screws. Anyway, this doesn't matter anymore. At least now you have an understanding of how to assemble one. You have a set of its parts and a light taste of despair. A lot of various goods were transported in the cargo holds of the liner unnamed. The global funeral agency rented only a small part of the ship's space in the framework of the advertisement company and has nothing to do with these goods. The absence of movement of the nearby debris contradicts the basic laws of physics. Either someone forgot about the use of logic, or it is an anomaly formed in the radius of the destroyed core of the liner. The shuttle was flooded with paint during the crash. Even the service center wouldn't be able to clean it from the inside. It's impossible to repair it. The paint itself also has no value after freezing. It's probably the owner of the shuttle with paint. He was engaged in illegal pumping during the crash, judging by the traces of paint on his hands and a huge hose stuck to his face. It looks like an underage child's cabin. I hope we won't find any dead children here, otherwise we will never escape the attacks of human rights activists. Oh no, that's what I... Hold on. The data analysis shows that this subject is 45 years old. This is an ordinary dead man with signs of drug intoxication. His body is reduced in half and he was killed in a sadistic way. It's alright, we've avoided a scandal. A large accumulation of toxic colorant has been discovered. If you find a container with this substance, you may receive irreversible brain damage and also improve the anti-radiation protection of the spacesuit. It looks like a tank with paint. I understand that such an image can horrify you, but put your mind at ease. You will need to pay only half the cost of a damaged spacesuit in such a situation. The Breathedge agency is proud of its loyal attitude towards clients. The shuttle got caught on some larger debris. Lucky. If this station doesn't explode, your engineering skills will be reconsidered. I recommend that you investigate the immediate vicinity in search of radiation protective equipment for flying to the evacuation zone. Judging by the degree of decomposition, this subject died long before the catastrophe. We have a murder here, Sherlock, and we just have to ignore it. It is unlikely that he suffocated from this, being in a spacesuit where oxygen is sufficient for an entire full breath. An unknown substance with a suspicious name. The note is written by a woman who can professionally handle stationary items. The captain's bridge is detected ahead. The evacuation should be led from there, but there are no signals or movement detected in this area. Probably everyone died. With such an accent, the incorrect localization sounds extremely convincing. The information on the captain's bridge is classified in the database, therefore it is recommended to ignore this valuable advice and act according to the situation. The captain's bridge was badly damaged, but the main systems are still functioning properly. The door is locked. If you manage to get inside, there is a chance to send a distress signal to the nearest planet, or at least cake the corpse with the captain who allowed this to happen. Seems it will be a long day. While choosing the most painless suicide methods for you, a slight decrease in the background radiation was noticed. Surprisingly, your attempt to break the liner could lead to positive results. I could find out the nature of this phenomenon, but for that, I would need to disclose some confidential information of the Breathedge company, which contradicts the security protocol, so not a single spacesuit AI will disclose this information to you. On the other hand, this information is extremely necessary for us. There are a lot of stupid spacesuits with dead carriers floating around, so nobody will even know if you resort to the good old torture method, like the drill.
No, no! I will tell you everything, I swear! Ah! Don't do that! What was that? I offered for you to torture other spacesuits. It's a logical thing to do. Well, I won't utter another word. Okay, let bygones be bygones. I suppose you don't think that a program can be afraid of torture, do you? I don't think it can either, and I'm definitely not hinting that you need to find an engineering shuttle. You probably need some explanations, which you cannot get because the corresponding dialogues are absent in the game. Therefore, you won't get any. In order to find out how you reduce the radiation, you need to calculate the coordinates of the place where the captain's bridge crashed into the liner. Breathedge Agency coffins can help us with this. However, we still need to find an engineering shuttle, or even better, the engineer himself. There's an engineering shuttle ahead. I wonder how you find everything so quickly. Is it because of my hints? Looks like he was shaving with a chainsaw during the crash. I can find no other explanation for such damage to a spacesuit. We need one that is in good condition, or at least other parts of this one. I'd recommend exploring the area. Why do all calendars have women on them? This is complete discrimination of the male half of the population.
С дороги уходи, видишь облака клубиться, то не мчатся впереди. Из далека с поворота по цепи врага густой, ветер бьет из пулемета, пулеметчик молодой.
Intergalactic forced exchange of specialists. Convenient, effective, but still remains a fantasy, unfortunately. What's that? Is it the body part I'm thinking of? Oh, nope, it's just a finger. This won't do. All the interior was torn out by depressurization. The durability of the engineering modules is impressive. Even such asteroids couldn't crash them. What a strange place. But maybe we can find something useful here. This is it. I wasn't sure if the engineer's legs remained intact, but we were lucky. Unfortunately, due to the security protocol, I cannot tell you that the special magnets built into his engineering boots can be used to illegally open the back panel of Breathedge coffins. You probably need some explanation about this. I have no right to inform you that Breathedge agency coffins exchange information with each other concerning obstacles flying by in order to avoid collisions in space. But collecting this information would help determine the trajectory of the captain's bridge, which in turn will determine the coordinates of its collision with the liner.
Летишь с дороги, птица, сердце с дороги уходи. Видишь облака клубится, солнце впереди. И сною то с поворота по цепи врагов густой. Где-то бьет из пулемета пулеметчик молодой. Это чанка, растовчанка, наша гордость и краса. Анармейская тачанка, все 4 колеса. По фашистским покам тачанка, все 4 колеса. Лети с дороги, птица, сердце дороги. Видишь, облака клубится, поднем
Not the most useful instrument in space. A witty toy with a non-witty name. The developers are clearly 13 years old. Unfortunately, this isn't what we're looking for, although I would think of getting a hand transplant if I were you. These are better than yours, and it looks like nobody needs them anymore. A strange accessory for a man in his 40s, unless he's at a Japanese culture festival. Auto cleaners. I always thought of them as useless equipment, but seeing the size of this ball of debris they managed to roll, it makes me start to respect them. The trash ball mostly consists of electrical tape. The technology, you're doing great. You're almost there. Come on, just a little more. Do it before you realize that these mechanics just artificially prolong the gameplay. Such supplies of electrical tape suggest that engineers doubted the durability of the liner. Judging by the steady melting of the rolls, there was a fire in the engineering modules, but it definitely was not the cause of the disaster. Data acquired, but its analysis will take about 3 days. Nope, 3 seconds are enough. Apparently, the captain's bridge damaged the tank with mayonnaise on the port side of the liner. The mayo got pulled into the core's gravitational field, which increased its mass and decreased its activity. Bombarding the core with other similar debris may lead to a further decrease in its activity, probably. What's left to do is to find something with similar properties to mayo and not kill yourself with such experiments. We need to hurry. In this regard, I will calibrate the radiation sensors a bit. You'll be able to get much closer to the liner, and we'll assume that you are not exposed to radiation at all. Speaking of Normandy, your interlocutor has already mentioned this shuttle with survivors. It would be nice to find it before you actually destroy everyone. I will mark several interesting places that I found through the coffin notification system. Unfortunately, this awesome remedy does not cure breaches or depressurization. If you want to open more coffins, there's a chance that I'll be able to detect new, potentially useful debris, while my anti-vandal program scares you with criminal liability. Thanks to your torture, I violated not only the Breathedge data protection protocol, but also entirely by accident. I repeat, entirely by accident. Cracked the data block, which I had insufficient privileges to access. From the information gathered, I can conclude that the agency coffins not only transmit information about obstacles, but also exchange strange encrypted data packets. Unfortunately, even when threatened with a drill, I wouldn't have enough power to decrypt it. You would need some military equipment here.
This is working autonomous oxygen station.
Interesting design. The wiring schemes of the steering wheel are even less complicated than in the pleasure ships. You can connect an oxygen station here if I've understood the blueprint correctly. Monitoring the condition of a working suit is a necessity, and is especially relevant in space. Apparently, there was a survivor here, temporarily. During the explosion of the bridge, I managed to take measurements of your body to order a coffin, but it didn't come in handy after all. I'd like to note, you're in great shape. Keep it up. You're almost not so fat. A miracle of engineering. This vacuum cleaner flew fast, but not for too long. Something was being assembled here. Unfortunately, the skillful engineer turned out to be a less skillful driver. Hope these antennas are spares and communications can work without them. Judging by the number of antennas, this is either a communication point or a communication point from another side of the liner. In any case, there's a chance to find Normandy and the other survivors. Looks like someone tried to get inside the module using the shuttle as a battering ram. By the way, did you know that originally the heads of some battering rams were carved in the shape of a ram? That's an interesting fact. The chance of injuring yourself with the electrical tape is 46%, which makes the dispenser the safest tool for useless construction and wasting your time. Remember not to put the loose end of the electrical tape down your throat. The pilot entered the module. Well, partly. At any rate, his brains are scattered all over the corridor, and they most likely got into the vent and activated the airlock pressurization protocol. You need to find another airlock to get inside. The service airlock. To be more precise, this was the service airlock. Unfortunately, now it's gone. But if you scan how its system works and get the necessary tools, we could try to repair it to depressurize the doors.
Видишь облака клубится, конем мчатся впереди. И снуют с поворота последний врагов пустой. Где-то впереди бьется пулеметчик молодой. Это Чанка, Растовчанка, наша гордость и краса. Анармейская тачанка, все четыре колеса. magari Elisa Piglioni, Giulia mio cinti sapore, e ti
Such tubes are usually installed in the liner's service modules, where they cut down expenses on artificial gravitation. Corridors for staff members in the business class can cause claustrophobia, although they are extremely convenient and compact. What a strange place, but maybe we can find something useful here. I don't even know if he was either trying to plug the potato into the generator or power the generator from the potato. A small airlock that lets the liner's workers go into outer space. There's an engineering shuttle ahead. I wonder how you find everything so quickly. Is it because of my hints? That's a familiar way of repairing things. Did you study the same manual as well? His mistake was that he didn't know the principles of electrical conductivity. However, it's a good idea to pour some melted metal on the handy scrapper. It's unlikely that it will fly with a broken engine, but the design of the steering wheel is quite interesting. Stop. Judging by the signal, there's an anti-asteroid turret nearby. I hope you don't look much like an asteroid, but it's recommended that you stay away from the guns. These turrets can attack a large moving object without even knowing how valuable the spacesuit on this object is.
This is working autonomous oxygen station.
Guns nearby. This is Knight Errant, the main weapon of the liner Unnamed. It was meant to be used only in cases of emergency when the liner was attacked from the outside. Who would attack it and what makes Knight Errant different from other turrets? The journalists didn't get a clear answer. It looks like Knight Errant's manual control panel. It's used in case of remote control system failure. Getting here from inside the liner was impossible, therefore it wasn't fortified much. There are no data about the discharge cells or any modern particle beam weapon in general, but according to the blueprint, it's somewhere inside the gun's barrel. I don't think you should poke your nose in there. If the gun doesn't work, it doesn't mean you can poke your head right into its barrel. Apparently, these are the discharge cells. It's unlikely that you'll be able to fix them, but I'm sure that there are some spare ones somewhere, although I recommend that you think about why you would want to repair this gun in the first place. Turret detected. The latest issues of this magazine were uploaded to my database for speaking with teenagers, but unfortunately, I accidentally erased them. Forever. Why do you need a new spacesuit? I'm better than any new spacesuit. I recommend just upgrading to current equipment. For example, paint the helmet. I'm sure it will help. Too many military personnel per square kilometer. It's definitely a sign of trouble. The usual cosmic nutrition, but with flavoring and stuffed into an expensive package. Looks like a cabin of an annoying neighbor with a drill.
Access to civilians is prohibited. Get out of here, rookie! The Army teaches boys to think like men.
Turret nearby. When assembling a new suit, don't forget to transfer my chest-mounted module to it. You can't turret detected.